Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's the Eradicator, and in this video we are going to talk about Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which was just well, it was not announced, but we had a gameplay reveal trailer just yesterday during the Game Show Awards. And we got some little interesting Easter eggs coming from the trailer, as well as an indication regarding of the price, how much the game is going to cost. So here we go. Let's get started and let's react to that trailer, shall we? So we're going to first start with some kind of chamber and architecture that is similar a little bit to what we saw in the first game at the beginning, at least. And it seems like someone is in some kind of stasis forms or in a Bacta form. And judging by the looks of that chamber here, or the rust over there at its base, it's probably be there for quite some time.
The order is gone. I was betrayed.
Now, very often when we look at trailers, we hear some audio that may seem like it is matching the visuals, but it is not. And the reason why very often game developers do that is because they do not want to spoil surprises. Now, in the previous video that I made about this game, I said that I do believe that Maul, who is no longer Darth Maul, just Maul, will make an appearance in the game and will be the bad guy, the main antagonist in this game, simply because it did survive, and at this time of the game, it takes place 5 years after the game, he is still active in the Star Wars universe, and Darth Maul was betrayed indeed. By who? By his master, who eventually abandoned him and decided to take Darth Tyrannus or Count Dooku instead. So it could be that, or it could be that character that we see in that Bacta tank, but I still believe that we may see Maul making a return in this game, and I think that those lines that we just heard seem to be going towards that direction. Could be wrong, of course.
By the one I trusted most.
Could be Palpatine, right? Anyway, interesting character here that I think that we are going to be seeing later. Looks like some kind of ancient Jedi, perhaps similar to the Night Sister that we saw in the first game, but this time would be a male in this case.
I will not be imprisoned again.
Now, interesting things that we're looking at here. So, of course, Scout Troopers. We have more scenes here in, or at least on a planet that seems to be quite foresty. I don't think that we're going to be making a return on a planet like Kashyyyk, because we've already been there. But it could be, for example, Titan that we saw in The Mandalorian, briefly when Grogu was calling to Luke. Titan, the original birthplace of the Jedi. It would make sense for a Jedi who wants to eventually become a bit stronger and fight the Empire to go to the birthplace of their order, which of course would be heavily guarded by the Empire. Now, this is inside some kind of facility, obviously, very Imperial looking. This droid that we see over there is the same droid as K2SO, so some kind of enforcement droid that we saw in not just Rogue One, but also in Endor. Now, looks like definitely Cal Kestis would not be the only one with a lightsaber, but an interesting color here, a yellow blade. Now, the yellow blades were from the Jedi Guardians in the Jedi Temple, so it could be a Jedi Guardian here, or it could be a character that stole that lightsaber, or it could be here some kind of training session inside the game. We obviously don't know, but definitely looks cool to see a yellow blade. Now, something that strikes me here, where is the crew from the previous game? Especially I like that little alien here that was flying the ship. It seems in this episode Cal Kestis is on his own, and I would also like to know why. Yeah, the ship is definitely taking a beating here. So more types of settlements here. Usually in those games we don't really go to big cities, but small settlements that are usually have enemies, right? These are beat them up types of games like we saw in the first game. I don't think they're going to be changing the formula, but most of the trailer seems to be happening on this kind of planet, which looks like some kind of mesa world, Grand Canyon type of world. Very, very cool looking for sure. And here in the next scene, we still see the same type of geological features. So I think that this is going to be the same world. And inside this place here, we see the same type of books that we get to see in the Jedi Archive. Now, this could be, for example, the school that Jocasta Nu tried to create after after Order 66. She managed to survive Order 66 and try to recreate a Jedi school. Eventually, she went back to Coruscant and got captured by Vader in the comics, but this could be very well be one of her disciples who managed to remain here and stay here to instruct or train some of the few Jedi survivors that would have come, including here Cal Kestis. That's what I see could be happening.
Making yourself the Empire's most wanted.
That's a really cool power here. You see the Stormtrooper being used to shoot at his fellow Stormtroopers. Now, here is something that I really loved in the prequel, especially in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is how Jedi can actually use the Force to tame animals. And I'm so glad that this power is going to be making a return and will be a part of the game. And obviously we'll be able to mount animals like that. That's very nice.
A Jedi.
Well, new enemies here. I'm not sure if these are going to be Inquisitors or bounty hunters. There's been bounty hunters in the first game, so it could be as well. Looks like, again, the same type of architecture. This looks like the settlement that we saw from afar, but this time from within.
Remind our friend here why his kind are supposed to be dead.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they are bounty hunters. It doesn't sound like they are Jedi. It sounds like more like bounty hunters with all of their equipment. Oh, now this looks very much like a Wampa, but it's actually not a Wampa because it's not white and it's not on Hoth. Or it could have been a Wampa brought on this foresty world, perhaps. But yeah, very weird decision here. I hope that we're gonna have some kind of explanation in the game. Oh well.
The Empire's only grown stronger.
Now, this here is very interesting. Now, of course, anyone who's seen The Mandalorian at the end of Season 2, you have some Dark Troopers, and that will be the latest phase of Dark Troopers. Dark Troopers are basically enhanced droids that are meant to be used in the most extreme and perilous situation for the Empire, including fighting Jedis, which is why they have been made for the Mandalorian. And it looks like we are going to have an earlier version, an earlier phase of the Dark Troopers coming in here in this game. Now, I love this Easter egg because Dark Troopers were originally created for Dark Forces, the original FPS game, Star Wars FPS game back in the early 1990s. We further saw Dark Troopers in Star Wars Rebellion as well. That was an RTS game, a grand strategy game actually, released in the 1990s as well. And we haven't seen much Dark Troopers in Star Wars ever since. We saw them a little bit in Star Wars Galaxies, and that was basically it. And I'm really glad to get to fight those formidable opponents here in this game, in a AAA game made in the modern setting. That's awesome. Now, the trailer doesn't show that much, but it's some kind of shuttle here. We've seen that vehicle in Star Wars Rebels as well, and we've fought at that vehicle in the first Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So making a comeback here. Probably there are some Inquisitors or Rebel troopers, Imperial troopers inside. Well, not much. It's not that much of a big deal. Now, the setting though looks like some kind of, especially if we go before. It looks very, very urban indeed. It could be Coruscant, it could be another city here. But we do have other characters making their way into the trailer, including this one, who seems to be some kind of companion that we'll be playing along with, as the rest of the trailer will be showing.
Thanks, Bode.
Now, there you go. You can see here that we're definitely not fighting alone here in this scene, as there's definitely another player here. We can see that we're not fighting alone in this scene, as there's definitely this other character here who is tagging along with Cal Kestis and taking part of the action as well. So I really wonder if Jedi Survivor is going to be introducing some kind of companion mechanism as well, which is great because sometimes it kind of felt lonely doing the first game, and having a companion on our side is going to make things more dynamic and more interesting, I think.
Jedi is a threat.
Not now that we have this.
That looked like some kind of High Republic robe.
As long as we fight.
Yeah, that's exactly the same type of mechanisms here, climbing mechanisms and parkour mechanisms from the previous games. Overall, I think it looks very sleek, very nice graphics. They've updated the engine a little bit, obviously. And yeah, it looks like a nice evolution from the first game. Similar, but different at the same time. I like that Cal Kestis's got a blaster on the side. I hope that we'll be able to not just use lightsabers, but blasters as well. So, how much does it cost? That is the big question, right? Well, that is where things don't get so much fun anymore. And I live in Taiwan, so these are the prices that we are seeing here. This is the equivalent of 70 American dollars. That is very expensive. For me, this is about twice the price that the game cost when it was released, and I just hope that it's going to be worth it because it is expensive, yes. But yeah, maybe it was hard to make, maybe it will be justified. I guess that we will see, right? Anyway, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more gaming content. This has been The Eradicator, and I will see you guys later.